Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Today I'm going to share with you a clip from a recent live event. And in this, HL49 and myself are going to talk about two things. First of all, DEC and how there is too much of it, but the aim for reducing that supply and how the flywheel will work. And then ultimately it starts a conversation about more broadly why we're optimistic for Splinterlands moving forward. This is a fun conversation because I hear HL's viewpoint, I hear my own, and then there's some comments too from the live audience. If you want to be present at these live events, consider supporting the YouTube and you'll be invited to the member-only lives. And before we get into it, I got to say shout out to SplinterCoach. SplinterCoach is a website that will track your personalized battle history in Splinterlands for $5 a month. And that information is going to be fun to explore and powerful to unlock. It's going to show you things about how you can win more and therefore extract more reward for your time and attention. SplinterCoach.com, check them out. Guys, have an amazing day. God bless. I got a comment over here. Saucy goes, okay, I've been wondering about this. DC, there's an unlimited supply because I believe that when you purchase coins, they are converted to DC when you purchase cards. So when you purchase, what are they called? Credits. That's what he means when he says coins. When you purchase credits, you give US dollar value into the hands of Splinterlands, the team, and they give you these arbitrary coins, these tokens, the credits, and they carry a 1,000 equals a dollar ratio, I believe. Yeah, that's right. And
Yeah.
and then what happens is when you go into the market and use coins with credits to buy a card off the marketplace, Splinterlands, it's like an IOU. It's like what credits are like is like a gift card. It's like you go into your favorite restaurant and you buy a gift card. You give them $50 US. They give you a card that has $50 value on it. And then you can come back to the restaurant whenever you want and spend it. In the same way, credits work within Splinterlands. So when you come to the marketplace and you decide with the $50 worth of credits you put into the market, or sorry, into the game, you now have $50 worth of credits. You can come in and buy any of these cards on the market. And what happens is you're not going to send credits to the seller. You're gonna essentially tell the game, look, I have this value in credits and I'm willing to buy this card for the agreed price. And then how it gets concluded is that Splinterlands will send, like, a transaction happens, I think automatically, it must be automatic, where okay, the price was $1. He has $50 in credits. We'll send $1 worth of value to the seller and it'll be concluded by Splinterlands with DEC. And so part of his question was, are they creating, like, essentially the implication was like there's an unlimited supply of DEC because they're adding more every time they do this. Not exactly, because how they actually buy that DEC and they've bought it over a long period of time and now they're sitting on big bags of DEC. And so their wallet's full of the currency that they need to conclude that transaction. So they're not minting new DEC in order to satisfy the use of the credits. They're using the DEC that they already have access to from a history of collecting it and storing it, etc. And but there is an unlimited you're right though that there is an unlimited supply of DEC because we're always minting new every single leaderboard payout, every time cards are burnt, and we're always creating new cards. So theoretically there's an unlimited supply of DEC. Do you have any extra comment to add to that? Maybe I'm missing part of the picture. Do you know anything about that there, HL?
Basically, no, I think you have said everything that's important. The only thing I am concerned at is they're literally trying to do everything for DEC. Like they want to pump everything into DEC, but no love is going to SPS. Like the only love we got for months is the staking requirement for the leaderboard rewards. So that's ridiculously high. That's all we got.
And there's a new proposal today. I don't know if you saw it, that they want.
Yeah, I saw it.
So there's like another example of love for the DEC token in a sense. Where to go? I want to see it. Proposals. And price of Rift Watcher packs in DEC. I haven't read this yet. Did you read it?
No, I didn't read it yet.
I mean, the gist is obviously based on the title. price of Rift Watcher packs will be in DEC. This would be new. We had this vote before and it failed, and Matt is coming forward and doing it again. I'd like to put forward a proposal to the community of staked SPS holders to change the price of Rift Watcher booster packs to be a fixed amount of 5,000 DEC tokens per pack instead of a current $5 US worth of SPS. I am at a place where I would like this. All DEC tokens spent on purchasing these packs would go to the DAO, and the bonus packs and vouchers tokens requirements would not be changed. So you could still get bonus packs with the DEC purchases. You'd have to use vouchers. I'm hearing you maybe say you don't love, like, just based on what you said, HLR, would you be against this, or where would you land on this?
I'm definitely for this. Like, Rift Watcher cards, there's a pro and con to it. If you want to build a Rift Watcher card deck, the 5,000 DC will basically reduce the prices of those cards. And you can get them now for cheaper than ever. Because if I recall it correctly, last time I looked, the Core Lurker was still about $20. So that's very expensive for the current market. And either you want to build a cheap Rift Watcher decks, or you want to change, or you want to keep it there. And I'm definitely for a cheap Rift Watcher deck. I want to have every card next out. But I was also for, like, something that would also help this, would not SPS always changing like crazy, like giving as it has been before with the DC. If DC fell down, the packs got cheaper. Like, the SPS shouldn't have adapted to the price change of SPS. That's also a point would make the packs better, but also not so lucrative.
Say that part one more time for me. Say that last part one more time for me.
Like, as you see now, 300 free SPS right now is very, very expensive in terms of making it back.
Yes.
I think it started, it was about 100 or something, or don't mark me on that, but it was way less. And they should have fixed to that price. The downside of that would be that the cards would have been cheaper over time as SPS has been falling. So now the cards have been stable, but the packs haven't been gotten sold.
So I see your point. I think they really mean to have, the intention is for DEC to be a stable coin, and it's nowhere near there. It's been wildly volatile in its history. Even before there was a real like boom in Splinterlands play, when I used to play it, when there was still just a minuscule number of participants, the game DEC would go down to like 65 cents for 1,000 kind of thing, and as opposed to the intended dollar value. And then later we saw that huge boom with the land and the airdrop points, and everyone wanted DEC, and then there was liquidity pools, etc. And all of that led to DEC getting like 15 times its intended value or something crazy. It was like up to 2 cents for, oh man, per, was it?
Like,
something crazy.
I think 200 DC were $1 or something.
Yeah.
Or even less.
Yeah.
For 100 DC $1 or something ridiculously crazy. I mean, I started at that time and I made 130 DC for one day, and I thought like, wow, $1.30, that's crazy. And then I saw one of your videos where you made about 18 DC per battle, and I was like stunned, really stunned. Like 18 cents for one battle, that's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. But so the question, there's a question and a thought experiment that comes out of it. It's like, one, do you think, given the history of what DEC has been, that it's reasonable to ever expect DEC to be a stable coin? That's because that's where they're aiming. That's why all of the attention and investment and planning is around creating utility for DEC and burn mechanics for DEC. This is why we did DECB. This is why we're creating new guild buildings. This is why we did the Great Burning. This is why we want to do Rift Watcher packs for DEC. All of this is to like, this is why we're going to do DEC staking into land. These are all different mechanics and plans that will reduce the amount of DEC that's available on the shelves of in the wallets of different people. Even if it's not deleted, if it just is put into essentially a stake mechanic, like DECB was essentially a stake mechanic. You're essentially, you quote unquote burned it, and then you got DECB for it, and you got more of it. So some people were critical, saying now there's more of the token. Well, yes, but it has this non-transferability, which means that it's not going to activate into the, it's like that stock can't be used to buy cards. It can't be used in different ways like liquidity pools. So then if people want to buy cards or they want to serve in liquidity pools, they need to go get the real thing, DC, true DC, and things like land. It's not going to delete your DC. This DAO proposal with the DC being used to buy Rift Watchers, it won't delete it. It'll put it into the DAO. So some people might say, well, it's not even removing it. Well, the question is not just, is it deleting it, but also is it creating these sinks that will occupy it for a while, meaning that it can't be used in other ways, like on the market to buy cards. Because then if that's so, practically speaking, the implication is that you'd have a tightening of the market around DC and therefore a drawing up of price point. And I guess the question, that's the theory, but the question that I want to hear your thoughts on is, do you believe that we're going to return to Peg? Do you think these are practically going to reach us there? And then if yes or no, like, I guess if yes, do you agree that that would drive SPS price to a higher place? What do you think about that?
I think we will definitely go to Peg. Hopefully sooner than later, but definitely going there. Mm-hmm. But I think there's some things that they have to be minded in, or they have to focus on. It's not over exaggerating DC, like you need it for everything, and then if there a huge boom comes, you can't print any DC anymore. Mm-hmm. Like we don't get it from chests, we don't get it from anything. It's just clearing up the current supply. Yeah. So what are they going to do after that? Then like if we need it for anything, you don't get it, and it's like, as they said it again, 1 cent instead of 1/10 of a cent. What should they do to reduce it again?
Well, are you saying if it goes above the peg?
Yeah, if it goes well above, like just think about it, what you had. A huge bull market is coming, and we have too many guys that want to buy DC at once. Yeah. What are we gonna tell them? Hey, yo, you can't get any DC because it's not available. You can have SPS, but it doesn't help you in the game because you can't do anything with it. Mm-hmm. If we don't have anything for... Sorry.
I'm just trying to think it through, but from my understanding, and I haven't fully explored the burn mechanic that exists already but you can go in and you can, where is it? SPS. You can convert SPS right now to DC. And so I think what would happen is, yes, this is what would happen. If DC went above the peg intended peg value, what would happen is, so it's now 1,000 is like, let's say, just for easy numbers, like $2. It's double the value it's supposed to be, let's say. It's been there before. You might say during the next bull market, it'll get there again. But what would happen is SPS can be burnt to create new DC instantly. And so, like, let's see, if I burn 100 SPS right now, it's going to produce 1,600. It's going to produce the same US dollar. This is worth $1.60. 100 SPS is worth $1.60. It's going to produce $1.60 worth of DC, or 1,600 and 70 DC tokens. That's paying me at a peg value essentially. But oh man, I'm having a hard time like holding on to this. But doesn't this mean that you would access DC? You have the SPS because you're playing the game, and then you'd access more DC and you could sell it into the market, right? You'd be creating new you'd say to yourself, the DC is at double its price. It shouldn't be here. I'm going to create new DC through this mechanism that we have access to. And then I'm going to sell into that buying pressure until it drives it down. Isn't that the answer? Maybe I'm not fully understanding it because I haven't, but I think that's the answer. And that would drive it down.
You're saying there, but that's the same point. Then we have something like now, then everybody's burning their SPS and we have unlimited DC again. You know what I mean?
But
Like,
then what should happen? What should happen is that it would drive the DEC to peg, and then people would stop burning DEC. Stop, because there's no longer a reason to make it and sell it into the. So then I think what we optimally will reach is a place where DEC is always at peg, and sometimes because of different events it slips above peg, and then people burn SPS to get DEC, and that drives DEC price down, which is a good thing for SPS holders because we're minting it through staking. We're earning more because we have more rewards through our time, through our play. So we are going to benefit as SPS is getting burned by others in order to access DEC. We as SPS holders will be the greater beneficiary. I think that's the long-term explanation. And I have to totally admit, I feel as though I only have like a loose grasp on the things I just explained. So if I'm wrong on some element of that, I could be. Let's put it that way. Did anything else to say about that one, HL?
No, basically, I don't have anything to say about that. I mean, it probably will go that way. We will see it eventually. If there's a ever returning circle of being DC everything too low or everything too high.
Mm-hmm.
But also, still, I mean, personally, I think we're doing the same with SPS that we're doing with DC right now, because we don't have any DC sinks. Since we only can burn SPS for DC, we now can also burn DC for SPS. So I think you have to find a good niche balance between one token does this and is only specific for that, and the other token is for that. Like if you want to have two tokens, the two tokens should be for something, and not only staking, because not everybody wants to stake it.
Yeah. I think you're right there. I definitely agree with that part. I think that their intentions are to build a future where DEC has a real unique use and SPS has a very different unique use. And we're not there right now because of how the SPS airdrop worked. Also because the DEC airdrop points, and there's a couple mistakes we made along the way that have created a scenario now where we're fixing the problem we built. But I think I actually think that there's reason to have confidence in that plan that I described around getting DC back to peg, and then watching what that will do with SPS deletion, and then watching the appreciation that'll happen. And if we get to a place where this might be a couple years away, but interestingly, if we get to a place where DC is stable around 1,000, maybe sometimes it's slightly above and some days it's slightly below, which would be normal. I think that'll be a world where people are not having enough DEC. That is necessarily true. If DEC is at peg, that means we don't have an abundance of extra DEC lying around. And that means that we will flywheel burn SPS. And that means that SPS should appreciate. And that means that new players will come, because you'll see when you're earning 6 SPS per battle at champion, which is what I'm doing right now, then you'll find that that's a 10-cent win right now. Who cares? But that could be a 60-cent win. Like, if SPS is 10 cents, or a $1.20 win if that's a 20-cent SPS, or, pick your multiplier. If we imagine SPS could be at one point in the future $1, how many eyes would be drawn to this game if through one battle you could get $6, right? Like this battle right here, I fought this earlier. I think I got 6.5 SPS. If that's a dollar token, heck, if it's a 10-cent token, it's a 65-cent win. And suddenly that changes the desirability for the cards and so much more, right? There's new draw from new players, which means greater demand on all the assets, including SPS, including DC, including cards. And that just changes rental prices and, ROIs on card ownership, etc., to the point where people are like rushing into the game because they see an opportunity. But hopefully we, having positioned ourselves now, and during a bear market are going to accumulate those assets either for free like gathering is doing, or even with you and me trying to fight and get these soul bounds that are powerful. Look, that's 6.3 SPS. Like, what is that? Is that a 10,
Diamond.
is that
Wow.
10 cents or is it $6? I mean, I think
6.3 is 1.6. It's about 9 cents.
so. Is it 9 cents or is it $6?
It's 9.
But
Yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah, like it depends when you ask the question. I really, that's my like new favorite saying. It depends when you ask, because in one day in the future, I think it will be. And so how do you value it at 9 cents, like for your own investment, your own heart, or do you value it at more than that? Because the price is 1.6 cents, but that doesn't mean that you need to think it's going to stay there forever. You might think it's going to drop lower. You might think it's going to go higher. That should inform how eager you are to get more of it and hold on to it. You know what I mean?
Definitely know what you mean. Currently, I'm not actually trying to accumulate any DC or SPS. I'm just staking everything I get, don't buy anything, and just wait out a little bit. It's my current strategy, to see what's happening before I just do something stupid.
Yeah, I hear you. That's but even in that, you're still playing, you're still accumulating your dailies, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't. Why not?
Yeah.
Like, it's only beneficial to me. If I don't play, I lose money. I lose time.
Yeah.
Just why not?
I totally agree. But you know what? Like, to the question earlier that I think Gathering asked about, we losing people. And he said it here again. He said, do you realize you can play Splinter Forge and earn Liquid Forge to buy DC or SPS? And even on Bronze Boss, I earn about $5 a week, which is 300 SPS for free. So it's like, as you know, I just asked you, HL, like, are you still playing? Even if you're not maybe putting new money in, you're not buying new SPS or whatever, you're still playing. And I think last time we talked, you said you're making about 4,000 or maybe even 6,000 SPS a month. Is that still true, or where are you at?
I think I got a little bit less. I think I got 2,000 last month because I didn't play any tournaments. So basically, tournaments are a big point of my income. I stopped playing those, so it's got ripped in half.
Yeah, but the cool thing is, like, even if all you're doing is playing your dailies and getting your seasons, that's moving the needle. So when the next bull run happens, if it happens, and I think it's gonna, and you do too, you're gonna be positioned with more and more of these assets that should appreciate. And people like Gathering are like, I'm willing to play and have fun and earn what seems trivial, $5 a week in Forgium, which then I can sell into SPS if I want, or buy new cards with, which he's equipped himself. He says, I use Forge to buy cards. I don't need to rent any cards now. So people don't want to put in the work during the bear market because there's no bells and whistles or like fireworks when you earn a card that has no value. The soulbound reward cards have no price. So some people are like, I don't even care. Or the SPS is like so cheap, they don't want it. They don't even really care. They're not taking it seriously. But people like you, HL, and Gathering, and myself, and probably everyone paying attention still, recognizes that the more you accumulate now, the more multipliers you'll see later, if this game is going to be here. And of course, we think it's going to be here.
Also, what I want to throw out there is I made way better rewards and way better stuff with my alt account that plays in bronze and silver than with my champion account. I think I made a 54 RI with my alt, and not even close to that high an RI with my champion account over the year.
Love it. I see a comment from Bobby. Shout out to Bobby. He goes, with the fancy motion tracking gimbal. We see you, Cuzzo. Yeah, dude, this is the new one. This is the real tech over here. This little guy is like it's my new. I got it a couple months ago and I'm loving it. It's it tracks me, like if I'm moving. It would do like a lot of cool things if I wanted it to. It's got like hand controls and stuff like this, but I like it a lot. It was not cheap, but it was a worthwhile upgrade, especially since this is still something that I'm really enjoying doing, like the daily content. A couple times recently I've missed one, but man, I'm just as excited for Splinterlands. I'm probably more excited. No, I am more excited for Splinterlands now than ever. I'm playing it more now than ever. That means I don't just mean Splinterlands, the rank battle experience. I mean guild brawls. I mean Splinter Forge. This is growing my attention. Even Golem Overlord, which isn't directly connected to Splinterlands, obviously, but it is connected in the sense of SplexGG introduced me to it, and SplexGG is a tool and a resource I play within Splinterlands. And this is like I'm continuing to grow what I'm doing over here. And I know parts dropping, and I know 4GM's dropped, and I know that this game is people don't love the mechanic or the play. I like it, and I'm willing to keep contributing because I just really believe that we are at the beginning of something, not at the end of this kind of blockchain thing. There's so much more growth opportunity in front of us. And if we see SPS go to 10 cents, that would be such a crazy moment where, you know, I've got 180,000 now, I think, and I'm getting look at this, like, I don't know. I'm getting about 1,000 or 2,000 a day, I think, depending. I think I might be wrong about that, but it feels like every time I come in here, it's like there's 300, there's another 500. I got land rewards. I got nightmare pack rewards. Speaking of nightmare pack, I need more of those puppies, man.
Since you've said that not for Jamie, how much scrap are you making a day? How much parts do you do? I'm curious.
On Golem Overlord, I'm getting probably 400. No, maybe it's closer to, yeah, in the
300.
300 to 400. I'm getting probably.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Man, how much did you spend some real money into it, or just did you build it from scratch?
I put in. Let's see. Probably in addition to the $20 that you had to pay or whatever it was to start when I started, I put in probably $80, and that's using Hive and Hive token that I earned years ago from posting, blogging, and whatever, and now, yeah, I mean it's still not like it's not going to change your world. Like, I mean, even at this level with $80 in and doing it every day, I'm getting, let's say I'm getting. The part token is worth 2 cents. So if I'm getting $6 a day, 300 tokens, if I'm getting $6 a day, and you can't actually cash it all out, but let's just say I'm getting, even if you said I'm getting $2 a day that I theoretically could cash out every single day, that's $60 a month, man. That's actually really cool for some people in the world. And I'm just doubling down, pushing it all in, trying to grow and separate myself as best I can. Because I don't know if this game will be here. It might disappear. But I'm taking a small little risk with $80 or so, and then same with Splinter Forge. I put about this one. I probably put about $100 into to make my hero what he is. But you don't have to do that either. That's the thing about Splinterlands and about Golem and about Splinter Forge. If you just did it with literally the starter cost, you're gonna have some reward. Now people are gonna say it's not enough. You need to put the money in. Wrong. You could just play the cheapest, lowest level, and you'll see some growth. The question is, are you okay with that growth being less than another guy? Because sometimes greed gets in the way where you say, well, Dwayne's getting 400 part a day. I need to make sure I multiply so I get 500 part a day. Well, that's a dangerous game where you start putting in money you really can't afford to risk into things that are, that are risky. Splinterlands is risky. Splinter Forge is risky. Golem Overlord is risky. There's maybe 10,000 to 20,000 human players playing Splinterlands. It's still very niche. But to me, risk means opportunity. So therefore, risk isn't necessarily scary.
Yep. Totally at your point there. I only put about the 20 Hive into it. So I was way green on the second day. Or even on the first day, I made all my money back when it was pretty in hype. So I'm always still, everything I earned from that game is non-profit related. So I'm really happy with that.
That's beautiful. That's a great piece of advice too. It's like you can do that with a lot of things. And sometimes there's like a patience in that, because you could say, oh, I'm never going to take out that starter cost, but you did. And now you're like free rolling.